Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often. Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often. Every discussion from experience, and hopefully within it delivers some deliverance. It's all facts and opinionated, from the west where that real spit originated. Brothers truly trying to save a soul, provoke thought so we can really designate a goal. We on that grown man scribble, the ball in our court with command on the dribble. This is something that'll help us show, cause it's something that'll help us grow. We see exactly what the people need. Now welcome to the show, Spitting Policies. Welcome to the show, Spitting Policies. Welcome to the show, Spitting Policies. Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often. Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often. Spitting Policies.
Yeah, here we go once again. Y'all know what time it is. Welcome to Spitting Policies. Policies. We thank y'all for coming in. To the show, tuning in to the show. You know that you could watch us at the after party, Inglewood, or from our page, Spitting Policy. Do anybody got any current affair, anything on your mind that you want to speak on real quick before we really jump into the show?
One thing I want to make mention of is earlier this week, there's a popular guy in Inglewood. His name is Mo Freeman. Mo Freeman had passed away last week, and he was a pretty popular guy, and a lot of people in L.A. knew him. And he had been, to my knowledge, he had been sick for at least 2 to 3 years. And as of last week, he passed away. And the thing that got me was some of the people, he was so popular that some people that, would mention him while at the shop or just out and about, and they knew of him, and he was a very popular guy. And one of the things that ran through my mind was him being able to have everything set up for his daughter. And he was a loved guy. He was a very likable guy, and he just exemplified a lot of love for other people, for his fellow man. And he was also, if I'm correct, a promoter for different events for different people. He was always everybody's right-hand man, according to what I saw. So him passing away kind of had an effect on a lot of people in Los Angeles. Had a friend a while ago, you guys know him, Derek Stewart. He had passed away, and he and Derek were very popular, and they were friends. And now he passed away, and that just had been on my mind all weekend. So that's it for me. Anybody else?
Nah, don't look like it. So we're going to jump into it. So I'm going to ask you to introduce our guest. Not as long as it, took you.
Well, how about this? Right? But first, I want to find out how everybody's week was so far since the last show. How was everybody's week so far?
Mine's is cool. I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm here.
Okay. Canoe?
Oh, mine was a little rough.
Wow,
It was
really?
a little rough around the edges. But I got sandpaper. I smooth it out.
Is that a sandpaper suit, by the way? Is that made out of?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a sandpaper suit.
Oh, okay.
It feels good.
Just like that is a
It's the
bus.
other side of the sandpaper.
That's a bus driver uniform you got on.
I was just asking because you brought up sandpaper, and you just happen to have something on that resembles sandpaper. So I didn't know, your tailor, is that good to where he made a sandpaper suit.
This guy you'll never see him in a suit.
It
No.
feels good.
Not often. Not often at all.
Yeah,
You already know.
He hating.
I wear suits
I get
every
haters
now
in all shades.
Every
of color.
now and then. It's not hate, it's love, bro. You
No,
already
no,
know how we
no.
do it.
And see, y'all arguing in front of company.
You know how we do it. But go on and introduce our
Can
company.
I say one thing?
Yes.
I wanted to say that I know this is our last show, and this is considered Black History Month.
Excuse me.
And I wanted to let our audience know that we still are going to be focusing on Black history throughout the
Right.
year.
Definitely.
This doesn't end it for
Nope,
us.
Not at all.
Good stuff, Canoe.
Yes, sir.
I
Awesome.
I want to start off by mentioning or introducing our next guest. Her name is Miss Flowers. I first met her when I was about 13, 14 years old, and when I was a police explorer, she was, I don't know if you call it supervisor, but she was definitely uh, a leader of our group. And one of the things that I noticed was here was this female, not too much older than me, in a position of authority. And she did a good job at it, and she did it well. She was a thorough person, but what made her more impressive to me was her intelligence. And we had lost contact after she had graduated from the Police Explorer program. And a few years later on, I see this successful woman, and it's almost as if I knew that she was going to be successful based upon the type of person that I saw her as growing up. Later on through conversation, I found out that she was involved in many things that regarded growth and prosperity. And that's probably one of the prayers, that is one of the prayers that I pray for growth and prosperity, including in the rest of my prayers. And finding out some of the things she has done and some of her accomplishments and how she has done it and how she had become a leader in that field was very impressive to me too. So I wanted to have her on the show, and she will also be one of the sponsors of the show. And she's an awesome person, an awesome spirit. She has a great attitude. She has a go-getter mentality, and she grabs the bulls by the horn. I appreciate being able to uplift one of my sisters that I've known for so long, and I give kudos to and I hold in high regards. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce Miss Lisa Flowers.
Lisa Flowers.
Lisa Flowers, Miss
Good
Flowers.
Good evening.
And I
Good
wish
morning.
we had more time to give you, but
Yeah.
since your friend took up all your time,
Yes.
we would like for you to come back.
Yes.
Absolutely.
She already said that.
I
She already
would
said
be-
this might be a double show for
Well,
her.
anytime with you on it, it's gonna be a double.
I would be happy to come back, and I'm honored to be here with Trevor and
Oh, excuse me. Go ahead. I
Canoe.
apologize.
and Kevin.
Yes.
And it's an important topic. It is Black History, and yes, you know, one show or 1 month is not enough
right.
for information for our urban community.
Or an additional day. 'Cause
Correct.
You know it's 29 days this month.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Your people are so kind. Y'all so good.
Leap
to us.
year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be here.
Yes, good to have you here. So we gonna jump right on
Okay.
in here, and we can start.
Can you-
Anybody have any questions for it?
Actually, can you start off addressing some of the topics that you find are important for us as a community? How you can help and how you can assist in that, and give some of those main topics that you can or will address during the show.
Okay. How
The name of
about
your business. Start off with the name of your business.
Credit Medic 911?
Credit
And so-
Medic. Credit
What
Medic.
is Credit Medic 911?
That sounds like something
Um,
you say at the altar. Y'all need a credit medic. Y'all bless your hearts. Anyone in dire need of a credit medic?
Probably you. Yeah, they'll say that.
Trevor,
on show.
stop.
We'll be
Man,
shocked
I'm
you down there.
a strong 640. Not. Go ahead.
But you know, my background is, and I was, you know, I was asked a couple questions by Canoe and by Kevin, and I've had the privilege of growing up in a single family household with just my mom, but she instilled in me the power of having great credit and insurance and just handling business very early on. And
What's early on?
17.
17? Okay.
I got my credit started myself at 17.
Okay.
by a very simple step. And so we'll talk about that today too, because as a community, our kids are going off to college and they have no idea about credit. And then when they get to college, the banks and the finance companies are showing up and offering them, a hat, a T-shirt, a wristband, a headband for them to start credit. And because they have no idea of what they're doing, they'll go out and use a credit card. And before they even get out of college, they have destroyed their credit.
Okay. All right. Well, so we'll touch bases on that a little bit later.
Yeah,
on.
and so my passion is just educating, given the knowledge of what to do, what not to do, how to do it. And of course, my ultimate passion is sharing that with women.
Women.
Absolutely.
That's why she liked you,
So
Trevor.
women,
I was
hold
wondering
up.
why she liked
Your passion is sharing it with women.
Absolutely.
Well, she-
However,
you. Well, we need some women to call.
On next week's
it's
show.
all good. It's all good.
Thank you for coming,
I
Lisa.
absolutely.
And with
I'm gonna share it with you too. But
That's her plan.
I gotta help my sisters out.
Okay, amen.
That's all.
Amen.
You do want
Amen.
a good mate,
Amen.
right?
Amen.
Okay, you
Amen.
want her to be financially responsible, educated, knowledgeable.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
You know, and that would help a
Whether
woman.
it's your mate or whether it's your sister or whether it's your aunt or whether it's your daughter.
So what
You're
would
right.
you tell, you said you got started at 17. What would you tell somebody that has a child that's 16, 17, and you want to give them the first step to get their child on the right track to having good credit? Because we are in this society where it's all revolving around credit. And if you have a high credit score, you could just go pick what you want and go get it. So what is the first step that I could do as a parent to even educate my child on getting them on the right direction?
So even before the credit is just the money conversation, understanding money, the value of money, what money can do for you. Just because you have a couple $100 does not mean you need to spend it. Are you saving? Just because the new pair of tennis shoes comes out does not mean you need that.
One of the things that I had made mention to a couple of my students was, if you are not financially disciplined, your finances will discipline you.
Absolutely. And so it's just having the initial money conversation. My mother always told me money don't grow on trees. And so not only did she teach me about that, but my first job was at 14 in the Police Explorers that Trevor mentioned. And so at 14, I had to take my summers and go get a job at the Police Explorer, at the Girls Club. And so I earned money. And then I was able to spend some money. But then I also had to save some money. No, I didn't have any bills, but no, you can't spend all your money. You need to put some of that into the bank.
How do you? Well, we are in a different time now. They want it right now. It's a microwave society. Hey, I just want this right now. I don't care how much it costs. I want the new J's. Teaching a 16 or 17-year-old seems like it was an arduous task. And so, do you have any tricks that I could manipulate them into going?
So our children are watching our behavior.
Yes, of course.
So if we are the first ones to get up and go run and get some J's and put on our feet, then our kid is going to expect it because we're the parent and we're supposed to provide for them. So we have to set the example. I do have 3 children.
Okay.
A 27-year-old daughter and
27.
And a set of
Oh,
twin.
you don't
No. She's not available.
You don't look.
Wait. Hold up.
Yeah, you gotta watch that guy.
Okay, no, what I was saying was you don't look like you would have a 27. Bless
Oh,
your
I'm
heart.
sorry.
Still not available.
So,
I
but
would
what
sweat your
would be
skin
like
on
the first
7.
step? What would you? You said their concept and their mindset around money. You know,
Yeah.
because that is very important. Because a lot of times in our community, we're taught to have you know, you don't want to be too rich, or you don't want to be filthy rich. So they have this negative connotation with surrounding wealth, and even they kind of cut the verse off that for well, I know the right way. I'm trying to think of the way they always used to say it.
Paraphrasing.
Money is the root of all evil.
The love of money is the root
So,
of
but it actually says, I got money is the root of all evil for years. It was ingrained in me. But it actually says for the love of money. So, besides that, like what credit moves, like I know you could possibly add.
So I'll share with you how I got my credit started.
Okay, all right.
My mother had great credit. She simply added me to one of her accounts.
Yes.
That started my credit. At 17, I had my first car.
Wow.
It was a 76 Volkswagen where the payment probably was less than $100. And so then that also started my credit because that was in my name
Yes.
along with hers.
Yes.
And so that got me started with being responsible for something very minor as far as a dollar amount at 17. But simply to put a child on a credit card, you don't even have to give them access to the credit card. Their
That's what I
name
was
and their
thinking. Listen to
information
this. Listen.
will be attached to the credit information, but they do not have to have
Have
a
that
credit
card.
card.
Right.
Yes.
You can call up MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover, and say, I would like to put my child on this card, give them the name, date of birth, social security number, and they'll say, oh, you want us to send you a card? You say, no, they don't need a card. That's it. They have no access to the credit line.
Yes.
None. Now, I had access to the credit line because I got a credit card. And so, did that get me in trouble? It did, but it also taught me some great lessons to where I made the mistake, but I was young enough to make the mistake that I was still young enough to correct it.
Right.
So that's very simple.
Yeah.
One or two, that's it. That's all they need. That's going to get them started.
And and that's great because I have a son that's graduating this year and going off to college, and I'm gonna have him to add me to his credit card, but I'm gonna keep the card. I'm gonna start fresh, start all over, get a fresh slate. Yeah,
Oh,
you
you're not
just
doing
heard
that,
her.
are you?
She don't. She just
You're not
said
doing that, are you?
they don't
Oh, my
have to
God.
have access to the
their own
credit.
card.
Right. So I'll keep it.
Yeah.
I'll keep it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
well, you know, you're not gonna know which.
And so-
We got senior and junior. You got
Both of them, and the
right.
one and the other one next year, I'm gonna do him the same way.
And here's the second thing.
You
The
probably
other thing-
your cable bill in their name.
Don't do your.
We ain't got
child
cable.
like that.
Hey, and the cable bill ain't in nobody's name.
Tell him,
Hey,
it's in the neighbor
why
name.
you putting my business out there?
It's in the neighbor name.
Don't do your
That-
kids like
That
that.
is so cold. Boy, your child have a whole rent center account.
Don't you do that? Don't
That,
you do that?
yeah, that is.
Because you know,
Can we even talk about those?
Lisa.
we can laugh about it,
But it's very
but
true.
unfortunately,
A lot of people
guys,
do it.
adults have done that,
Right,
and
exactly.
before a child even uses their credit, it's tore up,
Right.
and
Wow.
so you already
Yeah.
give them an unfair advantage.
Right. Exactly.
So don't do that. I don't
And
think-
that's
you
just,
wouldn't do
I'm
it
just
anyway.
no, I wouldn't do that.
But the second way you can start their credit is with a secured credit card from a reputable bank.
Right.
My son went off to college. He didn't have any. He hadn't started his credit, and so what I did was I went and got him a secure credit card for a specific amount of money, and let him know this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to use it, you're going to pay it. You're going to use it, you're going to pay it. And you're not going to put any more than 30% on this, and it revolving monthly at any time. So if you decide you want to take $750 of $1,000 and use it, you're going to have to pay that $750 back when that bill comes. We're not going to pay $20 because they told you to pay $20.
That's the minimum, right?
Correct. So, you also have to know how to use credit.
Right.
And that's where, again, we are, as a community, are very uneducated. But back to using our children's credit, let me tell you what other negative impact it has on it. If you gentlemen don't know, when you go to get life insurance, they run your credit. So if you don't have a decent credit score, they are not going to insure you, or your premiums are going to be higher. And so, you have to be on top of this game. Credit affects so many areas of your life. Car insurance.
I think it affects who you date too.
Well, nowadays,
You know,
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
certain people date certain people in certain tax brackets.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? That could be reflective if you financially is a mess. Then, I mean,
Well, you
know what
need
you're
to
getting.
be, you need to be discussing or knowing what you're dealing with.
yes.
One of the things I thought about, what I try to analyze to my daughter is your credit score reflects your paper reputation, your paper credibility. That's a trail of your worthiness in terms of how you pay back people.
Absolutely. And technically, it doesn't represent, a credit score does not represent how much money you have. It represents how much debt you are in. If you have a low credit score, you are in a lot of debt based on how much money you're earning. So it doesn't matter if you earn $50,000 a year or if you earn $250,000 a year. If you are maxing out your credit, you still have bad credit because that's a huge part of your credit score. And so it don't matter that you make $250,000 a year if your lifestyle is $350,000.
Right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. And so it reflects the amount of debt you're in.
Okay.
So now that we've learned how to establish the credit,
Yes.
and some of us that had some bumps in the road and throughout life and maybe use credit frivolously, and we want to repair it now, and we want to come back we want to be revitalized.
Yes.
What are some of the best ways that we could do that?
So your first step is really going to know how to read your credit report. You probably wouldn't believe this, but there's a very large percentage of people who, I don't know, how do you read this? What does this mean? So you should always be looking at your credit report. Always.
Like monthly. What are your suggestions?
Through annualcreditreport.com, you get a free credit report every year. So there's 3 credit
Okay.
bureaus.
Okay.
Now your banking also allows you to look at your credit whenever you want, and it doesn't negatively go against your credit as an inquiry.
inquiry.
So Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, credit unions, they have that built into their mobile apps. And so you need to know what the creditors are saying about you. You need to know what your balances are. You need to know When should I be paying this? Should I be waiting to the last day to pay this? And if you are, that's costing you more money because of interest rates. And so you get 3 credit reports a year. So at the beginning of the year, you want to pull one. 4 months later, you can pull the other one. And then 4 months later, you can pull the third one.
So like a quarterly report.
Absolutely.
Credit
It's free
report.
to you.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. And your credit score could change every month depending on how you use your credit. You could have a couple great months, and then 1 month you have a bad month, and then your credit score has dropped 20 to 30 points because maybe a family emergency came up and you
Yeah.
had to max out your credit cards. And so you just got to pay attention. It's quarterly.
Well,
You need to be paying
Well,
attention.
everybody's starting to use it, and I hate to give them a commercial, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody using that app to check their credit. I'm not gonna even call their name. I don't want to.
There's a couple different credit apps.
Yeah.
They don't give you the concrete information about your credit report.
Okay.
They're giving you a snapshot of what you have going on. If you want hard facts, you need to
Pull the credit.
pull the credit through the annual credit report or go through your banking mobile system.
I once heard that when people start giving you different brochures for credit cards and things of that nature, it's because they did what's called a soft pull.
How are you receiving the
Let's just say they send it to you by mail. Different credit card companies.
a
send
soft pull
you-
is not negatively affecting
so,
your
right. But
Yeah.
is that what they do? What's called a soft pull? And could you define that? What a soft pull is? Do you?
you could bank with Bank of America and they have a promotion come around, and so they're just going to send you information. They have your information, you're their customer,
Right.
and so they already know your situation, so they just send it to you.
Okay.
Nobody that's issuing you a credit card is doing a soft anything. That's a hard pull
Okay.
if someone gives you any type of credit.
Well, usually they would probably send you flyers to apply.
Yeah, I mean, you
Why would they?
walk into a Macy's, their business.
Okay, well, you get mailed. Well, never mind. Go ahead. I'm just because I'm thinking that when some people they send you some credit cards and they offer you something, like why would you offer me this and I don't use your credit card or whatever else? Of course, you go into different stores and ask you if you want to apply for a credit card today, but when they send it to you in the mail, it's like I'm not related to you guys to any capacity, but I'm getting information from you, and I'm like, how did you even know I was around and things of that nature?
At
And you're offering me such a sweet deal. Like,
first of all, you got to read the small print. Most of the times, it says you've been selected.
the devil
If
is
it-
in the details.
If it does not say you've been approved, chances
wording.
are, if you don't have great credit, you will be denied.
The wording.
So if you don't say you've been if you don't see it says you've been approved, chances
Okay.
are you've been denied. A lot of times when you get solicitations, it's from a company that you deal with. Bank of America is affiliated with all kind of people. Your insurance company is affiliated with all sort of people. So it's
Because
just
because they're all tied in,
They got
they
your
have all your
information.
information and data.
Absolutely.
And then as well as nowadays with the cell phones, if you check up something or whatever else, you'll start, even if you visit someplace, if you visit a bank or if you visit a restaurant, they'll say, how did you like or how was
you
your
search
service at?
anything on here,
Yeah.
your information
Yeah.
is within their system.
I was talking to this guy in the bank the other day, and he was talking about, the chips that they were talking about putting in people's wrists or whatever else. I'm like, no, you don't have to, because we're voluntarily buying chips,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we're being tracked, and we're being followed, and we're being watched, and we're being listened to, and things of that nature. So, now you said there was something else that you wanted to address as well that was that you were passionate about. It was another topic, I believe, it was regards to
protecting your assets.
Protecting your ass.
Yo ass.
Sets. People. Protecting your ass sets.
ass.
A woman is
Sets.
this Miss Flowers is gonna teach us how to protect our ass.
Our ass.
Sets.
Sets.
So, Lisa, could you please give me some ideas on how I can protect my ass? Sets.
Ass. Set.
Absolutely.
Show me how I can
Like
protect.
in prison.
Teach me. Whoa, hey, whoa.
Yo ass. Sets.
No, I'm talking more along the lines
Prison
of,
with it.
along the lines of homes,
Wow.
my beneficiaries.
Protect it.
But go ahead, Miss. Give us some ideas. For one, what do you mean by protect your assets? What are some of the assets that people should be prioritizing to protect?
Okay.
And could you also address how some people that don't believe they necessarily have have assets or estates or things of that nature that's worth protecting? Because what I dislike, one of the things that I dislike the most is when people have a GoFundMe account for or after a funeral. GoFundMe is not burial nor life insurance.
Or a fish fry and car wash.
You know, we shouldn't have to do. We need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
And it was written that in order for anything, sacrifices must be made in order for anything to be redeemed. If you want chicken, what gotta die, Kev? If you want a ribeye steak, Kanoon, what gotta die?
Gotta die.
The whole cow gotta die.
Gotta go.
So I mean, sacrifice is so important. Even God did it.
And then
Why
there-
are we not doing it? My thing is, why
Right.
are we not doing it?
It's-
If you want a chicken, the whole chicken got. If you
Gotta
want a
go.
chicken breast, the whole chicken gotta go.
You want a chicken
Trevor,
tail.
can you let her? I would like to hear her.
Well, I was just
here's
gonna
the thing.
just-
Well, we were kind of like.
Oh,
But
oh,
I
okay.
was
No,
just
I'm
saying,
I'm sorry.
the new thing
oh,
that they
okay.
do
Was,
too
was I,
now.
hold on. Was
No,
I not?
no. If you want to keep talking, go ahead. I want to hear your.
But was it not
Go ahead.
important or imperative, or was it not a nugget that to share with the people that are listening, or should I
You talking
stop?
about a nugget, a chicken nugget, because you were talking about chickens.
No, that's a paste. But
Okay. Can we? I would love to hear her.
you would love to hear her.
Yes, I would love to hear
Well,
her.
it was
what
one
she's-
quick second. If we got any callers that want to call in and ask
might
any
have some
questions or anything on this subject, please call us. And I think the number is posted, or if it's not, it is. It is posted. So call in. Feel free. But go ahead, Miss Flowers.
Absolutely. So let's talk about just really quick, not quickly, but 2 ways to protect your assets. And then we'll talk about what is an asset. So insurance, there's not.
We have a call. That's that.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's what that means. Hello,
Okay.
caller. Thank you for joining us. State your name and your question or statement or. Hello.
You
Hello?
sounding like Barry White over there. You.
show you right.
Reminded them of Valentine's
Show you
Day.
right.
They done hung up.
I didn't make.
Just go ahead.
I didn't
continue,
mean to
Miss-
make them nervous.
Go ahead. Continue.
No problem. Insurance, there's not a family.
Oh,
maybe
they
she
called
called
back. They got a speed dial. I'm glad.
Come on,
they-
caller. Tell us your name.
My name is Cora.
Hi, Corey. What's your question or statement?
I'm just joining you guys. I'm just listening in.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You don't have a statement or a question?
I'm just joining in. So
Okay. You
wanna
just
listen
joined
to
in.
what you guys are
Okay, so
saying.
tonight's topic is how to protect your ass sets.
Yeah. Okay.
And so how can she join?
So she's on the call.
Okay. Cool. And so, there's no family that should be without insurance. It is so important, and that would alleviate GoFundMes. And so typically when you see somebody setting up a GoFundMe, they do not have insurance. And they have no means to take care of their loved one that is no longer here.
One. Okay. Hello?
Hola.
Hello? Caller?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yes,
we got
my call
disconnected.
dropped and I had to come back in. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. You got a question now or a statement? Or you just want to
No, I'm just listening to you guys.
Oh, just listening.
Do you know where to listen
Yeah.
to us at?
Because you
go
can watch us.
Yeah, you can watch it.
I was on the Facebook page, but I somehow couldn't get in, so I just dialed in. 'Cause
Okay.
I've been on the page for a minute trying to see
Okay.
guys,
You
but
can
I couldn't
also
get
you can also go to the after party, THA, after party, Inglewood. You can also watch us there as well on that app.
Sound good? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling and tuning in.
The second way you protect your assets is through a will and a trust.
Can you explain the difference? To
Yes,
some that don't
which also with the will and the trust is a power of attorney for your finances and a power of attorney for your health care. So a will is a document that is going to allow someone to lay out their wishes black and white. This is what I wish for to happen with me, my property, my car, my jewelry, my assets. A trust is going to protect any of those assets from going to probate.
Gotcha.
If someone does not have a trust and they have a will, the will can be contested. The decisions, whatever's in that will, can be contested, and it's going to go to probate, and a state is going to make the decision on what's going to happen. Not only is the state going to make the decision on what happened, the state is going to eat up a great portion
Right.
of that asset. And so, through a very important document that could cost you a fraction of someone's estate, you could have protected all that.
What is the average cost? Because some people may just want to know, like, can I afford it? How much is it to set up a will, and then how much is it to set up a living trust? So,
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to give us like exact amount, but estimated amount, like an average person would spend on that.
Okay, so you said something very important. I can't afford it. You can't
That was-
afford not to have
that was
a
that
will
was
and a
what kind of
trust
comment
and
was that?
insurance.
Can't afford it. What?
Well, a lot of people feel
just
they,
can't.
if
A
they-
lot of people.
if they're in the dark, they don't know that they can afford
Yeah.
it. Like,
Oh, no,
maybe
no.
it's
People say I don't have no money for that because they
Right.
think it's expensive.
Yeah. Like big pretty hats.
Well, I don't wear
Well,
a
if
hat,
you
but
could-
if they're Stetsons,
Well, I ain't
they
gonna
could
even say
cost
what-
you.
They don't make your size
know.
yet.
Pete, take your hat off.
They don't make your size yet. Anyway,
If you take your hat off, we look like twins by the head.
oh no,
But it's an investment into your future and into your.
No,
the
I'm not
future of
saying
your
people
children.
shouldn't do it. I'm just saying a lot of people
But they have
But you
that
can't
that
afford not
reason.
to.
I
they
can't afford
can't
it.
Can't
afford
afford
car
not to.
insurance.
But
so
then
they don't
too,
get it.
also people go and do other things and don't. This is one of the things that people do not take the time to invest in.
Yeah.
Is these important things. Just like making sure that your family is straight. I mean, just take Kobe for instance. The situation that was unexpected. Nobody was, when he left the house and his daughter left the house, nobody could have ever put their finger on that. But he did the right thing because we know that he was a businessman. We knew he was going to take care of business. His family that's left behind is taken care of.
So super wealthy. So let's go back a couple years. I'm not sure. I'm thinking Kobe had his stuff
Right, yeah,
together.
right.
Prince.
Yeah.
Prince
Definitely.
did not have his stuff together. So his estate is going to be a third of it is going to be cut because it's in probate. And the state of Minneapolis is going to get their money, a third of his
Top.
estate, to say this person is going to get this person is going to get this person is going to get that. You think he could afford a will and trust?
Very much so.
But, we don't think, some of us think we're,
Gonna live forever.
yeah, or it's not important, or because I don't have a kid, I don't need to do that.
I think a lot of us also procrastinate on it.
Right.
And
For
it's really
one.
the lack of knowledge.
I think so too.
Yeah, and that's-
Financial illiteracy
Well,
is
And that's
Right.
what it
that's-
is.
That's why we here. We want to tell
Yeah.
our listeners at least the importance of having these things that protect your assets. But a lot of people may feel like I know a lot of people that don't even have full coverage on their insurance on their car because
Cars, yeah.
they say it's too much
Too
money.
too expensive.
Okay, so again, it's being disciplined. It's sacrificing. It's not too much money for that same person to be in somebody's club on Friday night and Saturday night,
Yes.
or at somebody's bar
True.
Yes.
Turn up.
after work at a happy hour. That
Right.
happy hour money could go to state minimum requirement for insurance. So if you go out there and hurt yourself, you sue your insurance company. So your car can get replaced.
Yes.
So your medical bills can
Get paid.
get taken care of.
If we
And
have,
so speaking of that, I also said something about insurance. There's so many levels of insurance, but because of what I do, because I'm on the road a lot, because I'm in real estate and I have assets, I carry full coverage insurance in case an accident happens. 2015, I left California, headed to Las Vegas, and I was on the 605 freeway. My back tire blew on my truck. Not because I hit anything, I'm just driving. It blew, I was in a fast lane, and it sent me going like this on the freeway. I hit the center divider, it broke my axle, and sent my tire into the opposite direction, which hit a car, somebody's front driver, and then bounced off, hit a truck, and went on. But that tire damaged someone badly. And so I ended up in a lawsuit, which they sued me for over $1 million. Now, had I been a homeowner, had I had state minimum, 300, 500, had I not had my assets protected through a trust, a house could have been in jeopardy to have been taken. But I had an umbrella policy for $1 million
Wow.
plus my auto insurance, which covered me up to $250,000 or $500 for the whole accident for everyone. And so, not due to my fault or anything, just because the tire blew, the car went out of control, I caused bodily harm to somebody,
Yes.
which put somebody's family in a situation where their breadwinner is now in a hospital, unable to work, with permanent damage. But because of a policy that cost me less than $300 a year, my house was not attached. My car got replaced immediately, and then they sued me for the maximum of $1.2 million. And so now that family has some sort of comfort for a little while. But that policy cost me less than $300 a year.
Can you elaborate on how we can get that? Because it's a lot of people are not informed on the umbrella and also setting up a living trust.
So your insurance agent has access to umbrella policies. every business owner needs a umbrella policy. If you're operating a business without an umbrella policy, you're being irresponsible. Somebody could get hurt there. Somebody could get shot there. A car could get, anything could happen. And so it's inexpensive. So it's just knowing what to ask for. It's called an umbrella policy. And $1 million, if you're a business owner, is the minimum you should be asking. And it could go up to hundreds of millions of dollars. As far as the will and the trust, you could pay anywhere from 500 up to a couple of thousands of dollars for a will and trust, just depending on what your assets look like. For me, I spent quite a bit of money on a will and a trust just because of my assets. But anybody who has a child, anybody who is working and has a 401k, anybody who owns any house, anything of appreciating value needs a will and a trust. If you are a mother or a father and you have some children and something happens to you and the other parent is not available, your child could become a ward of the state if you have not put something in place for somebody to take care of this child when you're not here. It's not, oh, just because my mom is here, it don't work like that. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you don't want your child to have to do that. You want to make sure that you have these things in order. You can always update it. Yes, it's going to cost you, a shopping weekend. So what?
Yeah, and if people have done their taxes, they could apply some of their refund to protecting their assets.
Absolutely.
The whole concept of, I think money in and of itself is just a concept. And once we use money or the concept of money from moving it from one thing to the next and then using it as an investment, then we'll be able to budget better as well as have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, you only plan to fail.
Yes.
So if you plan to budget properly, if it's $300 a month, you can divide the $300 a month a year, divided by 12, and just put that little cushion aside. And if you can't do it now, at the beginning of the next year, you can go ahead, buy your insurance or what have you, and then when you get your taxes from the next year, you can put it back into your life insurance or even get a better life insurance. But I think the important thing is to at least start something.
True.
Yeah, and your personal finance is 80% behavior and 20% knowledge. So, when you know better, you have to do better. If you know all this and you're not taking action, then you need to check your behavior. Because when you know better, you should be doing better. Now, you don't know what you don't know.
And you realize you don't know.
And so that's not much you can do but gain the knowledge.
And that's what we're doing on this show also. Thank you for being on here for
Absolutely.
one. But this right here, this type of information, it could be, entertaining as well as informative. Right. And sometimes within our culture, there's a lot of things that get addressed or are more concentrated on that isn't necessarily edifying to our spirit, and we have a tendency to lean more towards entertainment and the things that are of non-value or is not an investment. If we have our time, our money, and our energy to be investment, it could yield a possibility of a better return. And for you even giving us that information or some insight into it, I mean, that's an awesome thing. Mm-hmm. There was another couple topics that you wanted to address as well.
Remind me. We've talked so much.
I think he really wanted to discuss them.
Okay.
So.
no, she covered
Anybody
what-
have any questions either on any of the?
Yeah, call in if you want to
Yeah,
call
let's
in.
get a
or-
caller to call. We
Yeah.
have a short period of time,
Right.
so
So
she's
get-
not going to
get it
be
in
here
now.
very long.
But yeah, this is definitely helpful, and we all need, everyone need to take advantage.
Yeah.
Start rethinking.
And I'm happy to consult with your listeners. Could I charge them a consultant fee? Yes. This is for me, this is not about the money. This is about helping
Right.
a communities, helping, your people, your listeners, your group, just get their stuff in order. Or if there's something they don't understand, I'm happy to consult with them. I'll make sure that they have my contact information before this is over on how they can reach me. But
Yeah.
I'm just here to give back to
Yeah,
the community.
definitely. And actually, you can give it out now if you want.
Absolutely. So on Facebook, you can find me at Credit Medic 911.
Excuse caller. Question,
Yes,
statement.
hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, this is Kathy Victoria.
Kathy
this is Sister.
Victoria. Kathy
Hi,
Victoria.
guys.
It sounds like a clothing line. Kathy Victoria.
Hi, Kathy.
Oh, wow. Hi, this is a great subject. The sister is an excellent orator and information giver. This information is really going to help somebody, so I appreciate your transparency and your candor.
Thank you.
I have a question. You're welcome. About a will and a living trust.
Yes.
And I just kind of wanted to know if you could briefly explain
The difference.
why a person would need both, because I don't know. I know a little bit about both, but I was under the impression that if you had a living trust, you did not necessarily need to have a will.
That's a good
And so I was
question.
just wondering what the difference is between whether you need both or just if the living trust would kind of take care of everything. And the other question I have is I didn't hear the beginning of the show, so I'm not sure if you are a financial advisor. If you are, if you would leave your contact information, or if you could perhaps recommend a few reputable financial advisors. I'm particularly interested in African American ones, so if you know
Okay.
of contacts that you can share with us, that would be greatly appreciated.
You say you didn't get the topic of the show, Kathy?
No,
The
I didn't
beginning
get
of the
the
show.
first
that-
20 to 25 minutes
Okay,
of the
well that's
conversation,
not.
so I'm
We
not
can
sure
fix
if the
that
full
right
title
now.
is a
No,
financial
okay.
advisor.
Well, we can fix that right now. The topic of today's show is how to protect your assets.
No, I got the topic.
Oh, okay.
She just
I
missed the
was-
first
what
part.
I
Oh,
didn't
well,
get
okay.
was what her position is, if she is a financial advisor.
No,
Yeah,
I just
that's
knew.
what
I
was-
just wanted to say
Say
that
that
again.
again.
I am, Miss
Okay.
Kathy, I am not a financial advisor or a financial planner. I am a financial consultant.
Okay.
And to your question about the will and the trust, the will is going to suffice as wishes for that person that's making the will. You know, here's what I have, this is what I want to do with it to some extent. Then you go over to the trust, which is more detailed, and the trust is going to protect any assets from going to probate.
Okay.
So if you are, for an example, if you owned a home and you only had a will and you had children, to prevent anyone contesting what the division, the trust is going to protect that. The trust is going to protect any of the assets from being attached for medical bills, for anything that might be occurring. So it's a protection. It's a layer of protection. If you just have a
Okay.
will, you're a homeowner, and you don't have no trust, it doesn't make any sense. Because the other
Right.
important thing is once you do the trust, you have to move the assets into the trust. So what do I mean by move the assets into the trust? That means your home needs to be titled in the name of the trust. That means your stocks and bonds are no longer in your name, it's in the name of the trust. That means that any bank account that you want within that trust needs to be titled in the trust.
Okay. And so a trust, you do not necessarily name who gets what in a trust as you would in a will, and a trust alone wouldn't suffice?
You do name it. You just get more detailed in.
I see.
You could get more detailed as in, I want this person to receive this when they turn this age. If you had minor
Okay.
children, I want Samantha to receive, a monthly annuity, a stipend of this amount of money when she turns 25.
Okay.
So it's very detailed. It also the trust covers who is your executor, who's your conservator, who's going to be the guardian. A will is not going to cover all that.
Okay.
A will is a start, but the finishing piece is the trust and you moving the assets into the trust.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you for
clarifying
your
that.
call,
And,
Kathy. We
I
appreciate
have one more
it.
final question.
Oh,
I
go
don't
ahead.
mean to take up all the time, but she brought up a difference between a financial advisor and a financial consultant. So finally, I just wanted to know what the difference between those two are, and then again, if you'll be leaving your contact information for us.
I will
That
leave
would
my
be
contact
fantastic.
information. Absolutely. I'm going to give it out before the show is over. And
Okay.
a financial advisor is someone that is licensed. A financial
Okay.
planner is not a financial advisor. They just help you plan financial pieces of your life. So I'm a consultant. I'm not licensed through the state. I don't have a series 5, 6, 62, 632. I don't have any of that. My experience and my education is from the School of Hard Knocks. I've been in this finance industry and learning all this since I was 18, and I am over 50 now.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Thank you guys so very much. I'll keep
Thank you for
listening
All right,
calling
thank
in,
you, Kathy.
City.
through Facebook.
And
You're
so
welcome.
really
Bye-bye.
quick, before we end the show, I just, uh-oh.
Got one more call.
We gotta make it quick.
State your name and your statement or your question, please.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, speaking on the use of it was actually good. Comment, actually, it's very, very good.
Are you ordering
The
something?
next show's about to end.
No,
Are you in the drive-thru?
No, he's listening to the show
No,
on something else.
The show's before.
Can you turn
off
that?
the device that you're
Because it sounds
listening
like
to
you
the show on?
in the drive-thru at McDonald's or something. Hey, can I
No,
get
I'm
some
not in the
extra
drive-thru
pickles and
McDonald's.
onions on that, though?
No, Trevor, I don't want no extra pickles.
Sir, we can't hear your
you
name, your question,
whispering.
or your
You
comment.
right.
We're limited on the time. Can you please address that?
Well, this is Fred Wright. I have a question for you, Trevor.
Go ahead.
Do you have change to a quarter 2 times in a nickel?
Yeah, what?
What?
Do you have what?
Yeah.
Sir,
change
this
to a
is not
quarter,
right
2
now.
times in
This
a
is,
nickel.
2 cans
sir,
of nickels.
this is change for a quarter 2 times in a nickel. Hey,
Okay, we need to leave her.
yeah, can we
information.
need to
Trip,
address
meet him
this
at
issue,
the barber
please.
shop. Y'all take care.
Fred, we need to address this issue
Please.
real quick. We're
So-
limited
so
on
he-
time, but thank you for your phone call.
Here's my contact information.
Please.
Again, on Facebook, I can be found at Credit Medic 911. On Instagram, I can be found at Flower Power 702, and my phone number 702-527-4101. Again, 702-527-4101.
Quick question.
Yes.
For some people that may not have the homes and things of that nature, can they also have will, a trust, or what have you?
Absolutely. They may have a 401k.
Okay.
They may have investments in the stock market. They may have It's just not
Right.
for
For
homeowners.
And a lot of
Yeah.
people think that they can. So
Right.
Yeah.
And we you know, this hour just is not enough time, especially when you have something that's informative. You know, you have something of substance. So we thank you for coming. And you know, she came a long way to come to Spitting Policy.
Yes, yes.
She drove from
I appreciate
Vegas.
you having me.
So
Thank you.
yeah, we hot. Yeah, we hot. But we want to thank y'all for tuning in and calling in. I know we didn't get everybody's call, but we definitely will bring her back on so
Yes.
we can continue, you know, pick up where we left off. So we just wanted, you have some last
Yeah,
one?
make sure you mention Spin Policies for a free
Yeah.
consultation.
Spitting Policies.
I got you. I got you.
All right. All right.
Learn
Good
to
night,
listen when
everybody.
it's grown men talking. Cause real spit you don't find that often. Learn to listen when it's grown men talking. Cause real spit you don't find that often. Every discussion from experience. And hopefully within it delivers some deliverance. It's all facts and opinionated. From the west where that real spit originated. Brothers truly trying to save a soul. Provoke thought so we can really designate a goal. We on that grown man scribble. The ball in our court with command on the dribble. This is something that'll help us show. Cause it's something that'll help us grow. We see exactly what the people need. Now welcome to the show, Spitting Policies. Welcome to the show, Spitting Policies.